by Mr. Darko Beats.
Welcome back, New York, to the Post 90 podcast. For those of you that are regular listeners, we appreciate you all for sticking around. I know obviously we've been on a bit of a hiatus for cornucopia of reasons. I've been out of the country, you've been across the country, jobs have changed, living situations have changed. It seems like everything has changed over the course of the last month. So yeah,
pretty much nothing the same.
No, nothing is the same. So we have a work cut out for us on this one. We have pretty much everything known to man to talk about. We've got like 6 games or 7 now with the Toronto game that just ended here. We're recording right after the final whistle, so be some talk about that, some talk about the men's national team. I think we need to speak our piece on some of the Freese situation, and then obviously talk a little bit about Alonso and Freese having that moment there. And then I guess just probably keep it a bit more general and just share our thoughts on the team right now, because it would be virtually impossible to go over everything that we missed one by one. So
it was so frustrating to be completely disconnected from this, which is our outlet to be able to like talk our shit.
Yeah.
While Matt Freese was, performance after performance for the national team, like absolutely killing it. And then he lets in one goal, which was a mistake. And just seeing him get killed online was like, it was so tough to not be able to just hop on here and really let people know how we feel. But I think it worked out in the end, honestly, because we got what happened right after, which was the superstar multiple penalty saved performance that he gave us right after. So they kind of let his performance speak for himself and didn't put us in a position where we're in here calling people out.
Yeah, and he had the humbleness to sit there too and not give it back to anybody, kind of the way that you would want a player to. So big shout out to Matt for better man than a lot of us, and maybe it's for the better that we didn't talk about it when it was fresh, because I cannot imagine people would be happy with the words.
I would have called out individuals. Like I had fully planned. I was looking up Hercules Gomez like stat lines for the U.S. and how many times he started, and
trying to find out what tactical manager's life was like.
The fact that 4 of his 6 goals in his 21 appearances were in friendlies against countries that have less population than California.
Yeah, it's
things like that. Yeah. I was really diving deep into some of these people,
and some of our own too that you don't love to see from the national team, like Tim Howard and Landon Donovan, having some conversations about him, and even
we've known Landon Donovan is a bum, so that's not.
And he started up actually news. After the Costa Rican win, he was still talking about it. He was talking about it. Alexi Lalas, they were both speaking about Matt's inconsistency, and I don't know. I never understand kind of trying to just highlight players in such a negative light, especially when they play for your country, and obviously like keeping them competent and at the top of their game and in form is like the most important thing you can do in a World Cup season, or whatever you want to call it, in a World Cup run-up. I don't know. This is a guy that's fighting to be the starting keeper for the World Cup. So
yeah, but that doesn't get views, that doesn't get clicks, that doesn't get your podcast number 1 on TikTok for the week. So
it's fair enough.
I understand why. Like I understand their motivations behind it. I just think like personally, how do you, like you said, how do you sit there and as like a legendary goalkeeper knock the kid after 3 starts where he's only conceded at that time 2 goals in 3 games, if that, or it might have even been 1. It didn't make any sense. So I'm happy it's over. I'm happy he's shining, and they're going to go on and play a final against Mexico, which I think was the idea behind the Gold Cup anyways, was to just get
always the goal.
Mexico versus US in the final.
Yeah.
So that'll be exciting, and I think it'll be the biggest game we've ever seen him in with the national team, and probably even like in our as a soccer player period. So
yeah,
I'm excited for that one for sure.
Yeah, and Ajmang's been getting it on the shins. I feel like that's another adjacent, not friend of the show, but like a player that we like to put on pretty hard, just because of where he's from. He's a Connecticut boy. He went to the same school in the town that we lived in for like 4 years at the same time that we were there. Didn't brush shoulders really ever, I guess I would say. But like, being aware of him and his story has been
knowingly,
interesting. And for
at
whatever
least.
reason, this kid is just getting murdered by everybody. I don't know. I guess that's what happens when you're a striker. Is
Well, it's like you're being in that position, being in the nine role, like you're going to be the center of attention no matter what. I thought in all of the games that I've seen him play. I think he holds a ball up well. I think he's like a pivotal piece. It's hard to look good in a team with Luna and Tillman like completely frying defenses constantly. Like, how do you kind of fit into that and be a piece that's contributing? Like, there's really nothing left to eat. It's kind of my playing video games with like you and Brian sometimes. Like, you guys are getting 90 plus kills a game. Where am I going to pull my 90 from? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, where is he going to eat from? I get the mistakes of, decision making, and if you take this touch there and what could have been, but at the end of the day, we're winning games, and he's playing well in the process, in my opinion.
yeah. No, I agree. I would just love to not have people like kill these guys that are in brand new situations. I don't think it makes a
Well,
ton of sense. So
speaking of killing guys, you were pretty vocal about the Pulisic not performing thing,
it's fair.
which, not to call you out for that specifically, but guys like Luna, guys like Tillman, I'm forgetting another player, but guys like that wouldn't be getting the minutes to be able to shine and become potential future world burners if Pulisic doesn't pull out of this competition and kind of
It's
take the vacation.
it is
Like,
true.
we wouldn't be seeing those guys emerge. So I figured I would just not a call out, but just like put that on your plate and let you soak that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the issue with Pulisic, I guess, has never really been performances. It's been more of an attitude thing for me. So, but I agree with you. Like now, like Luna probably bought himself a spot on the roster of the World Cup, like guaranteed.
At least the camp,
Yeah,
bare minimum.
yeah, at least like he's gonna be considered. So that's a silver lining. I still would love for some of these games not to be coming down to Alonso putting one past us in the 80th minute, and now we have to sit on the edge of our seats for a little while. But it is what it is. And you would think too, like some of these guys like Ajaming, if he had Pulisic out on the wing and these other players around him, or maybe McKennie in the midfield, like think of how much better he could potentially be performing with better people around him. It's like the conversations we have about Man City. Like it's easy to make Raheem look good when he's around like the 10 other best football players in the world in their positions. So yeah, you gotta give these guys time to grow. And like by the way, this is the first time they've all been called up like to the national team and are holding their own more or less. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Well,
think
and
it's
you spoke
respectable.
on kind of one of the biggest things that we were able to see, but we were obviously connected by what 3,000 miles or something like that. The Alonso and Matt Freese game, which was maybe the biggest thing to happen to NYCFC over this hiatus that we've been on.
Yeah.
That was one of the coolest games to watch. And it sucked. It sucked to see Alonso score, but then it's also like he's doing big things on a big stage,
Yeah.
and that was really cool to see. So I think the whole thing was just, it was obviously a win-win for NYCFC, but for the fans of being able to watch that was so fun.
And even for them too, it's like Alonso got to bag his goal and score his pen, but Freese got to win the game and have the big penalty moment. Like they're really, I don't think either of them, or obviously not Freese, but like Alonso shouldn't like hold his head on any of that. And that was a super cool moment. Like Alonso walks up and I think it was Glenn talked to Freese about it, and Freese and Alonso told Freese, "I'm gonna go down the middle," and trying to play a little mind games, and then he places the ball, backs up, and gives Matt a wink, and then he actually puts it down the middle, but Matt dives right because he knows that's what Alonso typically does in training. Like just those little things and having those backstories is what just makes this like so entertaining. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's some cool shit to watch, honestly.
yeah, and even like Alonso, this is the game we just watched against Toronto. That was his first game back for the club since going to the Gold Cup, and I thought it was interesting that he's kind of bringing in tactics or instructions, I feel like, from the national team that he wasn't normally doing with us before. Like, he wasn't really dropping deep in the midfield to receive the ball and bring it up before. We saw him doing that in this game, and I don't know. I kind of liked it. I think it allowed Hannes a little bit of space. It allowed other guys like the ability to move forward and not have to move kind of as this block together. And I don't know. I just think I don't know if that was something from the national team coach that he physically took himself, or if Janssen was just like, if he saw that tournament and just thought he could do that well, why not here?
Yeah, no, that's what I think it probably was like. Obviously, Pascal had some time on his hands. He took a little trip out to Europe for family related stuff, but I'm sure he watched every game that any of his players played on international duty. So yeah, he must have seen something at Costa Rica and how Alonso was kind of moving around there and implemented it here. And like you said, it's working well, and it really allowed Hannes, if we want to jump to tonight's game, to like take over the game, which is essentially what he did, not in the Montreal game, but I think the game before that he had a brace against Atlanta too. And they mentioned on the broadcast that he actually is now, I think, tied with Alonso for goals for the club, which is just, or for the
I think
season,
pretty
I should
close.
say.
Or
Yeah,
goal contributions, maybe
I think it's
something
goals.
like
I
that.
think they both have 8, and
I think Alonso has 11.
oh, he has 11.
I want to say he has 11.
Really?
Yeah, we can fact check that.
Maybe that's all competitions.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know, because I was trying to look on. I was looking on Foot Mob, and I thought they both had 8, and then oh, actually, Hannes has 9 and 3 assists, and Alonso has 8 and 1 assist. And it's
Oh,
worth mentioning that 3 of Alonso's goals are penalties.
true.
So Hannes, like, sort of dark horse, has really come out of not nowhere, because I know at times we talk about the lost episode of last year where we thought at the time maybe it was good that it didn't make it to the airwaves, where we're talking about Hannes and potentially having some kind of KDB redemption story, and what he could really mean to this team after we saw him kind of pop off in one of those early season games. But he's found this little form here that really like means a lot to our team. I mean, at this point, like he is the source of production at the moment, and it came at a great time because Alonso's been gone for a lot longer than I think any fan would want him to be. So it hasn't been as bad as I think maybe it seemed like it'd be, and you kind of alluded to that when we were reviewing the schedule of the 6 or 7 games that we had missed.
Yeah, I'm just hoping it's not, like last season where he had like this, a couple of games where he was producing at a high clip, and then all of a sudden it was like, where is this dude? Where did he go? Um, but I think we did kind of get down to the bottom of why that happened, which was he was coming off of the longest season that he's ever had, coming from whatever league he came from, coming into the MLS and really not having a break. So I think it was, maybe it's the fact that he's had an off season and the fact that he's just he's confident. And I think that's the biggest thing that you could have on your side in this league. Because at the end of the day, if you, a guy from, the likes of Brucio is like he should come into this league and tear it up.
Yeah.
It's just you got to be confident enough to be able to do it.
Yeah, and he's playing confident. That O'Toole goal, we already talked about it, but I think there was like 2 back heels mixed in there, and him and Max here making double triangles, and then he kind of cuts it at the end and just perfectly puts it in O'Toole's path.
Without
And
looking,
yeah, like I
just
don't know,
disgusting.
he's playing possessed.
Even just hitting that off of the volley and getting the luck to get it off 2 posts, yeah, but taking it off the bounce just one time, just disgusting.
Yeah, it's kind of the confidence that we've really only seen from Alonso in terms of like goal scorers on our team in a really long time. Like we have not
Well,
seen that level of confidence in our 11 since Tati, aside from Alonso and Hannes.
exactly. I didn't want to say
Yeah, and
the
maybe
name.
Tati coming home and making a visit. I don't know. We're like having some
No,
kind of
I
like
was gonna
reunion
say
tour. Like Santi was here tonight. Tati was
bring
there.
everybody back.
Yeah,
Bring Tinner home next game. Fuck
yeah,
it. Like
yeah.
just bring anyone you can.
And
We're lighting
Alenich,
teams up when
Alenich
guys come home.
gets his goal too, and that was, as you said, totally an intentional thing. Like I'm willing to die on that hill.
100% he meant that.
Yeah, because he hit it and then he watches it fly in, like he knew the trajectory that
Yeah.
it was about to take.
And then he like looked around claiming it because he's like, I meant that.
Yeah, he's like, you all realize I meant that, right?
And like the fact, I don't know, this is what we're missing out on by having all of these Red Bull commentators is like never getting the benefit of the doubt in those situations.
Yeah.
And this dude's like sitting there 5 minutes later, like dying on the hill that he didn't mean
Yeah.
to score that goal. And it's like, no, that he clearly like flicked his foot to get it on target at least.
Yeah.
Did he mean to like chip it far post? Probably not. But he definitely intended to score a goal.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It just makes a poor viewing experience for the fans when it's like this dude just rattling endlessly that your player did not mean to score the goal that he
Yeah,
scored. Like who? Honestly, at the end of the day, who cares, bro? Like
yeah.
it went in.
And who you know who the biggest audience for those home games are? It's going to be the home fans that weren't able to go out to the game.
Yeah.
So that's where it's frustrating to hear these guys. But you know, we've got the upper hand on them again this season, so we're kind of eating Red Bull tears again.
Yeah. Yeah. And Atlantis had that little moment of moxie with the Toronto guy. He headbutts him, and then
Yeah,
Tiago comes in like a bull, just the maddest man that you've ever seen, just trying to defend Atlantis like a big brother.
and he's just smiling, laughing it
Yeah.
off.
Well, I think Atlantis was like, "Do you want my jersey? Is that why you were pulling on my jersey? Give it to you."
That's so funny. That's so funny.
Yeah.
But even
So
Micha was a highlight of this game as well. Just giving a spark that we don't really get. It's a different, not I don't want to say not a spark, but just a completely different game and style to the attacking side of his game than we get from Tavon. Like being able to cut inside, bring the ball into the middle, and attack in a dynamic way. Definitely something we don't get from Tavon. Tavon's more of like a traditional bring it down the wing, cross it, play simple kind of guy. I think Micha definitely made some sort of statement to actually be the starter for a few games going from this point,
yeah, I mean, I
even beyond the
feel.
goal.
Are we at the point now where our next game is the Leagues Cup, or maybe we have a few games left before that?
I think we're pretty close to that being the
Yeah.
case.
Well,
Like even I was telling you that the next game that we're even able to go to is in like August.
yeah. Which I
Deep.
think is a Leagues Cup game potentially.
No, because even those ones, all of our Leagues Cup home games are at Red Bull.
Yeah, all at RBA. This is when we have like 4 games in the next like 10 days. So that this is just a continuation of the scheduling with the team that has been kind
And
of a
all away
nightmare
games
to
too.
record around.
Honestly, like if you want to be a demon, a gambling demon, just go ahead and throw anything you got on us losing a couple of these games. To
Yeah,
be able to go on the road and play a game pretty much every 4 to 5 days, these dudes are going to be dead. And
yeah,
then going straight into a Leagues Cup competition where we're not even technically playing at home. I think this game is a really big bright spot. Hopefully they can take the confidence from the game and go and steal some points from some of these teams, but it's such a difficult task looking ahead and like you said, playing 4 or 5 games in the span of 10 days.
yeah. It feels like we were just kind of on a little bit of a high. Like in our last 8, we went 4-2-2, and it's probably back. It's probably back time for us to course correct a little bit, and the schedule is no help to that. So I don't know. I don't know really what. Do you have an outlook on the Leagues Cup? I know we're about 4 games away, but like how are we feeling? How are we feeling about this thing?
Well, I think the outlook looks better if we're able to get some reinforcements. I don't know when the window exactly opens. Again, it may even be open now.
I don't think it's open yet, but it's got to be soon because apparently this Nicholas Fernandez guy is a new signing, allegedly a DP, and I guess the reasoning behind that is the club that he's coming from in Liga 2. They announced that this transfer would be their club record, and their previous record was 8 mil. So it's going to be over 8 mil, which guarantees DP. And I don't know, when does the window open?
If signed at the start of the window, he would be available technically for the first Leagues Cup game, barring like visa issues,
Okay, which
which
we
have
are
proven for us to be
notorious.
very difficult.
Yeah.
But even I thought the announcers in the game they threw out a completely different name
Oh, did
that I
they?
hadn't heard of. They said an Argentinian 10 from the Swiss league,
The Swiss,
but they said the name that was not Fernandez.
not Nicolas Fernandez.
No, it was
Was it?
something.
He does have a third name that I was just leaving out because I'm not going to begin to try to pronounce it. But maybe that is what they said. But
Maybe that's yeah.
definitely not from the Swiss league.
That's
But
maybe I misheard, but I was interested because I was like I
I was
had
also
not
going to
heard that
say
name.
Apple announcers are notorious themselves for
We're notorious as well, though.
potentially misspeaking
Yeah,
and just saying things that are not true
yeah.
whatsoever. But if it is this guy, and it seems like this guy at least is done business from the people that have reported it, and it seems like a good signing. He looks like a pretty good dribbler, has good service into the box. I think he was taking their corners over there. But I saw a lot of playing crosses in like the little compilation that the outfield put together. So I don't know. I guess if he is a 10, then that will be interesting because I think the state of our midfield is pretty good right now with Maxi in there kind of as a statue. Like he's there and he's not leaving. And I don't know, I guess unless this guy is the next Santi, I'm not sure that he can replace him. But it also feels a bit like this is a little bit more of one of those CFG signings and not necessarily like an NYCFC signing. Like
One hundred percent.
it fits the mold perfectly. I don't know that Pascal has any reins or ability to say yes or no to a transfer like this, but it has CFG written all over it for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I got past the point. You know when you stay up too long and you get to the point where you're not even tired anymore. I felt like I got to that point with the transfers. Like I wanted transfers so bad that I got to the point where I'm like, no, this squad is perfect
Yeah,
at
you
this point. Like why throw in another 10 just to like mess things up?
right.
Because now that knocks Maximo down the list, which I was happy that he was kind of moving himself up. Maxi has looked good. I mean, if you're kind of trying to get some depth in the case that Maxi goes down, and so you're not relying on a Maximo, like I understand that, but if we're gonna pay the rumored $10 million, like that's not chump change in the MLS. Like
The, the only
there has
thing,
to be some type of plan for him to be a full time guy.
yeah, I feel like if you're one of the 31 other MLS clubs, that's the case. But then I think back to last season. I can't remember which MLS reporter it was. Maybe it was the Pablo guy, but he wrote the article about how Ojeda and Jovan and somebody else didn't even play in our final playoff game, and that amounted in like over $20 million worth of transfer funds that like are not playing in the biggest game of the season. So like I don't know what
Well, that manager is
that's
no longer having a job, so
you make a good point.
I'm not sure we could really put too much weight into his decisions.
Yeah, that's a good point. And they did you hear them talk about Cushing a little bit tonight?
I
And
didn't know.
I have to remember exactly what they said. I can't remember, but it was a little bit of a slight. And then the second guy came in and was like, "Oh, but this is a good thing about Cushing." And I was like, "I don't know if they're running PR or what they're doing here," but it was definitely a little bit of an interesting conversation. It was about like, oh, it was about Alonso. They were talking about how he always
Yeah,
used
how
to
he
got
was getting
taken off
pulled.
early, and
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
community was complaining about it. And then the other dude came and he's like, "Yeah, well, he was just coming to at the time. We didn't know he was so good." And I was like, "Bro, no, we all knew, and like we did
Yeah.
not want him off."
The lore about David Lee too that I didn't know that he actually brought Lloyd
I didn't
into
know
Red Bull.
that. Yeah,
No idea. I had no clue that Lee even was a part of Red Bull before.
me
And I
neither.
guess that's just me being a terrible journalist or whatever you want
No,
to
I
call
don't
me
think
for this.
anybody knows that. Like, I think that was groundbreaking news to like
Because I
99% of NYCFC community.
feel like that would have been a very big story for David Lee.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody knew. Like
Does that mean it hasn't been an inside job the whole time, has it? The lack of transfers, right?
I don't
Like,
know.
he didn't even get the
That's
call, did he?
hard to say.
I don't
Hard to
know.
say.
Like, his big brother on the
That
phone
seems
with him?
like something that Andre would know and call him out for. So I don't know.
I don't know. Is Onder compromised?
I don't know. I just know he moved away. He's in witness
Yeah.
protection somewhere in Florida.
He's a CI.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, interesting lore. I guess this is maybe the first time where I learned something actually pretty interesting and incredible from the Apple announcers. So good on them. I think we'll till the end of time keep fighting the good fight for Ian and Joe. But yeah, I mean, good result in general. The run of form hasn't been too bad. I don't know, what to make of this game too much because Toronto sucks. But then you think like last week, Montreal sucks even worse, and somehow we lose to them. So it's,
Tough look on Medi as well.
yeah, but that's difficult to come in and I don't know. To expect too much out of him is
Well, and
tough.
in a transitional time where you know Alonso wasn't back at that point, Freese wasn't back. I know that there was a lot said about who Montreal was missing as well. At the end of the day, you can only put who you have on the field, and you can only play who they put on the field. So I don't know. I feel like we weathered the storm of everyone being gone pretty well. If we can go ahead and get, I don't know, a win or two out of this run of away games before we go into the Leagues Cup, I think I'd be happy. But a couple of emerging stars with Hannes, Micha, Romero, knowing that we're in safe hands,
He
even
has
if
to be
Matt
talked
Fleece was
about.
gone.
Yeah. I think it's been really incredible considering everything. It really sucks that own goal went in because that changes kind of the stat line. Like when we look back in the future, we're not going to think about it being an own goal. We're just going to think about it being a goal conceded. But there has to be something said over the course of these 3 games. He had that double save tonight. I want to say he's up to like 15 or 16 saves in 3 games, just 1 goal conceded if you take out that kind of fluky own goal. I don't know what it is about the MLS or like the Northeastern MLS, but we just have to find a way to produce these keepers that are really, really solid. So I'm sure part of it is that he trains underneath Freese, and I know we have a pretty good goalkeeper coach as well. But that's like a promising thing to keep an eye on because a lot of people are saying that the phone is going to start ringing for Freese after this Gold Cup, and I probably agree with that with the way that keepers are exported out of the MLS.
Yeah. Well, especially with him performing in the summer for a national team, like that is the blueprint to be shipped out somewhere. I know the story of his beginning is like he turned down Manchester United to stay at Harvard and went pro and that whole thing. Maybe he goes and earns himself a job maybe in like Belgium or something, somewhere where it's Europe, but it's not really, top flight. And he can go and prove himself. But if he's taught us anything since he's come here, is like you bet on him with everything you have.
Yeah, anything but riding the bench in Europe is I would be happy with. I can't
Yeah,
stand that game plan anymore of our players just letting them go on route over there. So it's not good for the national team. It's just
yeah. Well,
yeah,
it's not good for NYCFC either. Like Collins going from one of the best defenders in the league to sitting on the bench and eventually having health issues, but like sitting on the bench in multiple different leagues, it's not
yeah.
a good pipeline, and
We
it's not enough to just say like you're playing in Europe.
yeah we could have gotten like 2 or 3 additional years out of him
Yeah,
at that peak of Collins and really cemented him kind of like as a legend of the team, in the same
yeah,
conversations of like the Maxis and the Tatis. And in a way, he is just for that one penalty moment. But it's different when you spend, so many years with the club and you still spend time with them even through, I think, the toughest years is where you really start to gain a lot of respect and you still look good amongst the rest of the team not looking good. So,
yeah. It's crazy though the goalkeeper situation. Just to circle back to that, like we've never really had like a bad keeper ever in our whole history.
yeah, that's,
Barraza, I mean, I had moments where it was rough, but even then, like his baseline was still well above other teams, like best.
yeah, no, it's true. It's a weird thing. I guess it's just for whatever reason it's in our system. We have a way of making them good somehow. I don't know. I guess you just continue passing the baton on. Like if you work under Sean John for a year or two and then you get the go ahead, like, and now you're effectively the Sean John that can teach someone younger. Like it kind of just seems like it passes down the totem pole for whatever reason.
Yeah, no, it sucks that. Oh, I say it sucks, but it does kind of suck that Romero's emerging as really good too. Because if Freese doesn't move, then Romero's probably going to be gone too, the same way that Barraza was shipped out.
Yeah.
And I was almost hoping that in some alternate universe that we could have, free sleeve to Europe, the Premier League or something, and then we give Sean John his retirement tour with us for
Did
like a
you
year or
hear they
two.
wouldn't stop talking about Sean John? It sounds like he made some comment to the media that he wants to play till he's 40 years old.
Yeah,
Like they would not stop talking about it.
yeah,
And I was like,
yeah,
well, how old actually is this guy? I looked it
I
up. He's
don't
only
even know.
36.
Oh,
So he's like looking far in the future, which is,
honestly, we can get like 2 good years out of him.
yeah. Although I do, you do have to let Shawnee know that you are not going to have Maxime and Collins in front of you, which is a little bit of a discourse on Twitter. People
Hey, you
comparing
got
Freese and Sean.
you got
Freese does
Haquinho.
not. Yeah. To be fair, now the back line is back, but
Yeah,
like Freese was really in the trenches for a good season and a quarter, and still and
recent.
doing and putting up Sean John performances without that champion thing in front of him.
We gotta.
Sounds like the kid he just took something out.
He took something out. Who knows what that was? But yeah, no, I think we're in a good position as a team to kind of have weathered that storm to go into this away game run. Any final thoughts on the team with your outlook on what that run will look like?
Not really. I mean, I'm looking forward to getting this guy in. Seems like it's all true. I think I'm more interested in finding out where he's going to play. In my opinion, it seems like winger would probably be best. I don't know if he could play right wing, but if he could, we need somebody up there.
I don't know, but Ojeda was looking good today too.
He was, yeah. I mean, we were all cooking, but I think part of it is a factor of
I don't know. Like I
Toronto
just,
being mentally and physically defeated.
yeah,
You
it's
saw they
true.
just cut Insigne and Bernadeschi like 3 days ago.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't even know how you make that decision. I mean, you must be
Well,
in some financial dire straits.
I was gonna say I don't think you make the decision. I think Bernadeschi and
Yeah, I think they
Insigne
said
made the
that
decision.
they both were like, yeah, we're gonna cancel our contracts and pay him out or something is what they did.
Yeah, they were tired of being dog shit. I think.
Which, yeah, I don't know. But even like with the rumors of us getting this guy, this midfielder, it's like I really enjoyed watching Pereira and Aiden in that midfield today. Like that was genuinely the best midfield duo we've seen play for us this season.
Yeah, I think so. Aiden's been he's been up to it. I feel like. I know we did kind of after he joined the team after like 3 or 4 games. We kind of did an outlook on it. Do you have like a general outlook or thoughts, I guess, about his game that you want to share?
I think it's just been the same, like getting the job done, nothing flashy. He did have that ball over the top to Ojeda to be able to find him was really, really good. I think it was the one that led to the Micha goal. I, I could be wrong, but just solid box to box guys with Aiden and Perea. I think that's our future. Obviously you want to get Keaton in there because he's the best midfielder I think on our roster outside of Maxi. But I just say let them cook, let Perea and Aiden cook until Keaton's fully healthy. I think we're lucky that we don't have to rush him back into form. But yeah, I just want to see more of Aiden.
Yeah, I think we're past the point of rushing Keaton back from any injuries. I feel like it's at the point now. Can you hear that?
Yeah, Cat's making making a feature on the show.
Oh my god. I don't know what it is, but this cat like gets the craziest zoomies every night, like, and has never happened before. I don't know.
Well, just so happy to have company now.
I think yeah, her space like multiplying by 4 has
Yeah, that
unlocked a
helps.
new level.
That definitely
So
helps.
yeah. Well, that's what episode is this? I think it's 162,
160 something.
if I had to guess. So we're back. We're back on the schedule for sure. Looking forward to continue talking about these games. I mean, they're coming in quick succession. Pause. So I'm not gonna. I don't know when. We're gonna have to probably watch the next 3 games and then come and talk to you guys.
Yep. We got Charlotte next.
Like probably
Next
after
Saturday.
KC we talk.
Dude, there was a solid shout of me wanting to go to that Charlotte game. But it's just it's still kind of a busy time for the boys.
Well, and
Um,
missing Montreal by a week was fucking heartbreaking.
yeah,
We're back, yeah, back on another international vacation next week, so it's too much.
that's gonna be tough. But
Yeah, I
with
think
that game,
post SKC, you hear from us next,
right? And
or
even then,
no, we
we
could
will
we'll figure it out.
we could probably do Sunday then.
We could do
Uh,
Charlotte.
yeah, we could do Sunday after Charlotte.
Yeah, we're
Um,
back to the weekly. We channeled the City Boys, Lazy Boys activity for a little while.
yeah, I
I
think it was just like
wasn't even
we're
laziness.
also all in the middle of a heat wave. Like it's been crazy hot, moving, um, just being in transition for the better part of 2 months at this point.
Yeah,
Like constant motion. So just happy to get back on the mics. You guys are honestly lucky that we've already moved all of our stuff out and we didn't do that final studio episode because it was going to be full of clickbait.
yeah,
Just, post 90s over as you know it. We're never coming back to the studio. Yeah,
yeah.
all types of stuff.
Technically,
Um,
the dream's alive. I think. Is it?
I think so.
There's a potential. There's a potential one last studio feature, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't hold your
Well,
breath.
yeah. But this is our digs for now. Um, Obviously, we're going to continue to up the quality when we can, when we're all settled in more and get everything squared away. But yeah,
And
that
some,
was 160 whatever.
yeah, I was gonna say, and back to some stadium episodes too. At some point, we've been
Which
gone away from live games for far too long.
and that's really what we need in our lives, and it won't happen until Columbus,
Yeah,
August 9th.
Yeah, that's like the best. That's 37 days from now, says FootMob. So
And that is best case scenario.
yeah, that is best case scenario. But at least a good game, but a potential loss always when you play Columbus. So I don't know. I can't
So
think that
yeah,
far ahead.
continue to bear with us until we get this thing locked down and figured out with what we exactly want this to look like. But yeah, if you made it this far, you can throw in that you love Aiden in the comments,
All
and
right.
that's by force.
Yeah.
So we will see you guys after Charlotte next week or 2 weeks from now, whenever that is.
Yeah. All right.
Peace.
Peace.
Produced by Mr. Darko Beats.